The decision to actually agree was not one that was arrived at easily. I haven't exactly been shy about the fact that I have been a staunch defender of gay people all my life. I've always believed that people are born gay and should be able to live freely without question or condemnation. As such, Alan Chambers is a very controversial man. My first encounter with Alan Chambers came in the summer of 2010 during the Exodus International Annual Conference, when I was an executive producer and host of Our America on the Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN. Since its inception, Exodus International, of which Alan was president, preached change is possible, that people who were gay could, through prayer, self-help efforts, or reparative therapy, become straight. To the surprise of my colleagues and me, Exodus agreed to allow our cameras into the conference for an unprecedented look inside. The caveat was that, to protect people's privacy, we would not be able to shoot any of the workshops, and we had to set up our cameras in the back of the room and not shoot anyone's face. I remember vividly the enormous, dark auditorium and the thousands of people who filled it. It was clear that I was in a massive space with people who didn't want others to know they were there. Acknowledging their presence meant that they might have same-sex attraction, something people there wanted desperately to try to change about themselves. I recall seeing a young boy who looked to be around 15 years old, and the scene made me sad. I wanted to grab the boy, hug him, and tell him that God loved him exactly how he was and that nobody should try to make him change. While at the conference, I was also granted an interview with Alan. I'd seen him on television before, and I was always struck by how poised and unflappable he was. I also, incidentally, couldn't help noticing how gay he seemed. Given my hard and fast beliefs about homosexuality, I was, admittedly and distastefully, eager to observe Alan living a lie that I'd assumed was meant to suggest that because Alan was happily married to a woman, others who were struggling with same-sex attraction could do the same, that they could change. In the end, however, it is Alan who has changed. Not from gay to straight, not from conservative to liberal, but instead from condemning to accepting, from being ashamed to being freed. And I am certain that his journey and that of his wife Leslie can help people similarly come to terms with and love the person they are, regardless of what others think of them. By his own admission, by trying to help people achieve something impossible, Alan, as head of Exodus, had hurt some people. Now he cares more that others believe that God loves them, irrespective of their sexual orientation or anything else for that matter. Alan writes about our first interaction during the conference further on in this book, but I would actually go on to spend more time with him and his lovely wife in later years, at their home with their children, on a television set, at their church, and on the phone. What I would come to believe is that Alan is happily married to Leslie, but that they do not want their relationship to be an example of how a homosexual man can live in heterosexual bliss. They no longer want to be heralded as a gay-to-straight success story. Rather, theirs is a relationship that all couples, straight, gay, or whatever, can derive inspiration from. This is the story of their sojourn to grace, of their big come-to-Jesus moment. I long for a time when we will cease to feel the need to characterize and criticize other people, a time when we will just love. After reading this sometimes uncomfortably honest and brave book, it's clear that Alan and Leslie want that also. Lisa Ling, www.lisaling.com. Preface. Alan and I were recently asked, why write a book? It's a good question, and my initial response was, I don't know. How's that for inspiring? Our life together, in many ways, is so completely commonplace, I imagined our book would be a drudgery to read. Of course, thinking for a moment longer, I get that there is a thread of the extraordinary spun into the fabric of our ordinary lives. This book is simply our story. It's a story about our parents, our childhood, our coming of age, our marriage, and our journey out of a system of beliefs driven by fear and rules and shame, a system steeped in a condemning mindset toward gay people. This is a story about life within the confines of God's love and grace. It's about relationships, and it has a happy ending.